Are live. Hi, I'm Creatively Lisa, and I'm high vibing in from Round Rock, Texas. I got in last Wednesday night, Thursday morning, probably around 2 a.m. Well, yeah, it was crazy. So I wanted to come on here. I don't even know where to begin. That's pretty much where it is. Um, I spent the last week, Thursday through um, Sunday night, at an event called the Powerful Living Experience. I have been following this gentleman by the name of David Bayer, and I get such value from his content, and I've noticed a lot of shifts. And so he had a live event, and I decided to go. And once I made that decision, I had no idea what was in store for me, flat out. And what I discovered was I was pretty awesome. I didn't think so. I have been second guessing every single thing I do, uh, what I'm giving, how I'm doing it, am I doing it right, what's wrong, just you name it. And I decided to get a ticket and go. And I have been following him and another gentleman by the name of David Guion. And his thoughts are all the craziness that happens, every experience is growing your vessel or shrinking it. And it's up to you to make that decision which. So I decided I was going, booked a ticket, got it done. It lined up. Friends went with me. She had a friend that lived here. We could stay there. It just worked out. It was 5 minutes from the event. From the second I got up that morning, it was total chaos. So I just went with it and kept going with it. Our flight was delayed and delayed and delayed for maintenance. I ended up having to travel from a different airport. She ended up canceling altogether because of everything. And I just knew I was meant to be there. I knew it was going to change my life. To what depths, I didn't realize. I knew this entire weekend was going to change the being that I am and how I returned back to California. I knew it. I didn't know how, I just knew it. And so I just kept going with it. I still was able to stay with the friend's house. They worked it out. I arrived at like 2:20 in the morning. I had to lay over. I missed another flight. It was just nothing. And I just held true. Next day, no suitcases. Finally, they showed up at 3. I arrived, supposed to be here at the event, I thought at 5. And again, I just kept thinking, all things are working out. It's just working out. And everything was working out for me. I thought it started at 5. It didn't start till 5:30. Easy. It was just easy. And I just kind of rolled with it. And I would catch myself getting upset or concerned, and I just let go. I let go. And from the moment I walked into the event on Thursday evening, my life was different. And I wanted to share this with you because I wanted to get it written down. I wanted to say it out loud. And I wanted to just put it out there what this has given me. And so here we go. I met an amazing lady. The second I arrived, I got a great seat. She popped in right next to me, and we were together through the entire event. And so many amazing people. It was a wonderful business event on the first night. A lot of, why aren't you doing what you're meant to be doing? So there's a lot of finding these lies that I've been telling myself all along. I'm doing it wrong. I'm not doing it right. Um, what was it? I was not getting into trouble, but I was doing stuff wrong, and I couldn't figure it out. I didn't know. That's what was in my head. So I thought. I had gone through a hypnosis a while before that, and I gathered from my growing up, that I got it from my mother, and bless her beautiful soul. She was she was she was so afraid of getting into trouble that she was doing something wrong, that she took it out on herself. She blamed her for all this stuff from her childhood. So it kind of welded down into me that I was, I kept thinking I was doing it wrong. And I was clueless in a sense. That's what was coming to me. And I just went with it. And so I always hesitated. I always second guessed every single thing that I did. Everything. Is it right? Is it correct? Is it, am I doing it wrong? All of this stuff was inside of me. And on day 2 of the event, we were sitting there, and again, I had her next to me, and then the wonderful lady that I'm staying with, um, beautiful, beautiful couple. And I invited her to go because we had an extra seat. And so she was sitting on my left. My friend Debbie was on my right. So Sarah and Debbie. And I raised my hand, and I did not know what I was getting myself in for because he called on me. And I proceeded to go through like what I thought I was dealing with, what I thought it was. I wanted to get rid of that. I remember the little girl. I remember that I was always just rolling my eyes in my vision, and it was, I'm doing it wrong again. I can't do it right. And I remember telling myself that you can't do anything wrong. You've done nothing wrong. You've done nothing wrong, and it's not your fault. You've done nothing wrong, and it's not your fault. And I kept telling my little self that. And so I stood up with that, and I said this to him, and he went back and forth. And in the interim of about 15 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes, I discovered that it was, yes, coming from my mother's own upbringing, but it was also my father as well. And he was such a perfectionist on everything. And I couldn't wipe the counters down right. I couldn't do the horses right. It was a number of things. And he was getting it from his parents. My dad was an amazing man. I lost him when I lost Thule back in 23, within less than 2 weeks of each other. And he was an amazing man. And I always just loved what he gave me, the beautiful gifts that he gave me, my strength, my boldness, my fuck you attitude, I'm going to do it myself attitude. And I didn't know, I couldn't place all of this. And as we were standing there, it all came out that it was coming from him as well. And I was so afraid to say anything. I was so afraid, but I didn't know. And we sat there, or I stood up, and he just literally, it just crumbled away. And I will go through what I learned. I learned 3 massive realizations and gifts. And I want to share them with you. I want to tell you the rest of the story, and then I'm going to share them with you because I want to get them out there so that I remember. I remember. So after it literally fell away, I sat back down. I was shaking. And then the rest of the day was filled with people that I didn't know coming up to me and thanking me for the gift and courage of standing up for them, talking for them. They had had that same thing happen to them. They had struggled with this exact same situation. They had dealt with this their entire life. And through me, they were able to heal from it, just like I was. It just was falling away. And I had people coming up to me for the rest of the day, like one after another, wanting to connect, wanting to get to know me. And in my mind, that wasn't the case. That wasn't the case. I didn't know what I was doing. I couldn't do it right. I wouldn't be able to help. So, I mean, all of these things were in my head and were in my being. And it's been holding me back for years without me realizing. I just started to really go deep on this personal, like really like ripping all this stuff up. I've always never done that. I've worked on myself my entire life, as long as I can remember, but I would let these things go because I didn't want to mess with it. And I'd put my armor on and I'd suit up and I would go out and take care of it. Push, force, drive, control. And I learned from Thule when she transitioned that I had to let go and trust. I had to trust. I had to let go. I had to stop and smell the flowers. I had to stop toiling and start being present and loving myself. Something that I've not done very often. Always judgmental of myself, always judgmental of everything. And when I lost Thule, I blamed that on myself too. Guilt and this and this and that. I did. It took me a long time to get past that. And all it was is she took one for the team. I was doing this, and she's like, Mama, you need to play big. You're playing way too small. So she woke me up and made me realize that. And now I see this as the biggest gift that she could ever give me. And it allows me to be able to help other dog mamas live more authentically, holistically, and non-toxically with their pups and build that connection and that bond. And it anchors my business in even deeper. And so Saturday was a beautifully peaceful day at the event. I learned a lot. We had a lot of fun. I met a lot of people because they're still coming up to me. And then on Sunday, I got all dressed up again. I took Saturday off. My feet were killing me, and I got all dressed up again. And early in the event, like at the beginning, they were talking, and I was talking to my new friend, and he said something, and it was fitting me, and I just was kind of talking to her, not focusing on pick me, choose me, and I just raised my hand with strength and confidence again, and they called me. And not only did they call me, he brought me on stage. And nobody was up on stage, nobody else. He brought me up on stage, pulled me up. I got right up there, high heels and all, climbed up on there. And it was such an amazingly surreal experience. It's something that I've always dreamed of. I've always wanted, and I've always known that I wanted to speak on stages, that I wanted to help people on a big level. I just felt the openness and the love to do that. It's always been something that I want to do, but it never manifested. I haven't done anything. You name it. And so I stood there, and he looked at me and he said, how does this feel? And I said, well, it feels pretty awesome. But, and I said, I could just feel my energy. He says, did somebody tell you when you were younger that you were too much? Did somebody tell you to be quiet, to tone it down? Ask you why you had to speak up, to basically put you down, put it down? And I remembered, yes, from my family not wanting me, wanting me to stay in that one area in Salem, get married, have kids, work at Walmart. That was never my mission. That was never my goal. I always wanted thinking bigger. And so I was fighting with myself, afraid to shine, afraid to expand. And I wonder how many of you have had that exact same thing. I would go into a room and I would have people, it would be a mix. They would roll their eyes and go, man, your energy's in there before you are. And not in a pleasant, kind way. And I've known I've had a big energy. I always have. And all of these little words when I was younger, sticking in my brain, sticking in my head. And I couldn't get it out. And so I've back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Because my dad was still there telling me to push on. And at the same time, you're too much. from a variety of different people. And and so it was just a really strange situation, to say the least. But I stood up on that stage, and I'm going to send pictures. I'm going to put pictures out later. And the feeling that I received from just being, I didn't feel scared. I didn't feel worried. I didn't feel concerned. I felt free. I felt that I was home. That's what it felt like. And I looked out into the audience, 800 people or more, actually more than that. And they just were looking at me, and I could see their light. That's what I could see. And it felt so calming, and it felt so right. And then they continued to contact me, and they were saying my name. And I just breathed it all in, and I felt those shells falling away. I felt that constriction falling away. And then a ton of people come running up and holding on to me and saying, "You're not walking it alone." And I've always felt that I'm alone. I've been alone. I'm doing it on myself. I do it by myself. And to have that support was extraordinary, beyond extraordinary. It was magical. And then, not enough. At that same time, as I was coming off the stage and realizing all these different things, I've realized that my what is it? My financial life has been like a roller coaster, up, down, all over the place. It always works out, but it's always up and down. Like, why? And the answer came to me as well. Again, I had amazing parents, but one was afraid to spend a dime and was so worried, and the other one couldn't spend it fast enough. And so it was a back and forth and back and forth, and no financial literacy at all. How many times or how often has that happened to you? How much have you thought, what the heck? How does that happen? No financial literacy. I kind of just figured it out on my own, and not well, I might add. So that's been in there, toiling around in there. And when I realized that, again, it wasn't mine, and I'm going to say this, it's not yours. All of these thoughts, all of these ideas aren't yours. They were given to you, and you don't need to hold on to them anymore. I don't need to hold on to it anymore. I can let it go. We are all meant for greatness. I know where my greatness lies. It lies in helping people live more holistically with their pups on a global scale, helping dog momaship, teaching about dogs and energetically and living non-toxically and just helping people. I want a charity that pays vet bills for people. I want to be able to help people pay their vet bills and then educate them on how to live holistically so that they don't have problems in the future. I want to help preventative with animals. They give us so much. Tuli was my guru. She was my best friend. She was my soulmate, my partner, my travel buddy, my business partner, my friend, my child. And how many of you feel the same way about your furries? You want to take care of them. And so I realized this. And I realized I've got a great business. It's amazing. I love getting up every day and coming up with things to help people. I find it electrifying. I love it so much. And this event clarified everything like that. 4 days, 40 hours, probably more than that. And it changed how I think. It allowed for the crap in my head to fall away. And I want that for you. We don't have to believe what we were told. We don't have to believe what our mind tells us. We can go beyond that, and we can change that and let go of it. That's what we can do. And so, before I end this live, I want to tell you the 3 things I discovered over this past weekend. I discovered that through my dad's perfection and my mother's feeling of being in trouble and doing it wrong, I got the idea that I couldn't trust my own actions. Would do it wrong. Couldn't do it right. I second guessed everything. And it was always my fault. Why others could do it? I don't know. I couldn't. Because I didn't know what I was doing. That's what I thought. That's what I thought. But I know now that's not the case. I know that if it's coming to me, it's meant for me. And I know what the hell I'm doing. I know what the hell I'm talking about. And I know how the hell to do it. Whatever it is. Because it came to me. And it came through me. That's what I know. And that I can't do it wrong. Because it's my way. So it's obviously right. And that's for you too. Number 2 was between my mother's fear of lack and not having money and fear of spending money, and my dad spend without concern and no financial literacy. I got the lack mentality and worthiness and spending on stupid things because of it. I didn't want to spend my money away because I wasn't worthy enough. Not having anything left, living week by week. I used to use, and this is what I also discovered, I used the fear of lack of money, not the actuality of it, because overall, I do okay. Probably better than most, I feel. I do all right. Things always seem to roll out, and I always have everything covered and then some. And how many times have you thought, oh, I can't do that, or I can't spend that, or worried or fear, but you always have enough? How do you know? Because you're still here. You've got food on the table. You've got a house. You've got a home. You've got clothes to wear. You get to go outside. You breathe. You live. That is enough. We have enough. And otherwise, it's just a stupid mess of craziness in her head. And I use that fear of lack of money, not the actuality of it, as an excuse not to do things, not to play bigger, not to take a chance more often. And I used it because of fear of worthiness and a fear of failure and not succeeding. Because in all actuality, I was afraid to fail, that I wasn't enough, and I wouldn't succeed at whatever it was, which ties into number 3. And I know that that's not the case, because every single thing that I put my mind to has worked out. It's we lie to ourselves when we look back at our lives and all the amazing things that we've done and been able to do and situations we've come out of. Our mind lies to us. And that old mindset and programming kicks in for no reasons. It's a lie. It's a lie. There's always enough. There's more than enough. And when you make a decision to do something, whatever it is, and you burn the bridges, I love that saying, and see no exit strategy, you cannot fail. You have to succeed. Things roll up, they line up. And that is the truth. That's the real truth. And back into tying in to number 3. I was taught to play small and dim my light. Don't speak your truth. thyroid issues and all the stuff going on with my throat and my autoimmune. My body is literally fighting itself because the truth of me knows one thing, and the ego and the mind are telling it a lie, and it's constantly fighting itself physically in my body, in my thyroid. So I was taught that my light, my energy was too bright. I took over, fit it, and do what you are supposed to do. It was too much. I didn't have anything important to say. I remember thinking that long ago, jumping up like I was a little girl, jumping up, going, "Hey, I've got something important to say. I know what I'm talking about." And I had this constant feeling of nobody listening to me, which is total BS. Total BS. And the reality is that I am designed to shine. We all are. My light, I'm designed to shine my light for others as a path. Speak my truth boldly, authentically, and courageously so others can be lifted. I speak, and I wrote this down, I speak on stages. The reality is, I always know what to do. My way is the right way for me. I will always, it will always work out for me. There are no mistakes, and I can't do it anything wrong. If others can't do it, it's on them, not on me. It's not my fault. It's somebody else doesn't achieve what they want, whatever that is. My way is correct for me. Therefore, I am only in trouble when I go against my path. The reality is, I have always had enough. Money and blessings have always come to me. When I make my mind up, things line up. There is no failure, only lessons. Failure is when I don't play big, shine my light as bright as I can, not be authentic, and don't speak my truth. That's when I'm failing. That's when you are too. I can do anything and it will happen when I make the decision with solid conviction and inner truth. Take the first step, listen to the inspiration source is whispering to me, leave money out of it, let go, and trust with an open heart. That's what I learned. So I want you, I invite you to think about what's holding you back in your life. What's keeping you from shining your light brightly? What's keeping you in fear? You are an amazing being. How do I know that? Because we all are, and we all have got amazing gifts to share. And when we don't speak our truth authentically, we keep others in the dark. And that's not what we're meant to do. That's not what I'm meant to do. And so I want to say thank you for listening to this live, for letting me speak my truth, and for showing you the flaws that are all within all of us. I invite you to step into your truth. Reach out, say hi, let's connect. We're better in numbers, and we're better when we're helping each other grow. Thank you. Thank you.